everybody. Welcome back to another episode on the Simply Evolving podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Welcome back to season 4 again. House notes. So, for one, follow me on TikTok at Evolving and Instagram Evolving. Head over to my personal YouTube account, Evolving with Eboney. I am currently editing a video for that page. I'm currently trying to also figure out a editing and posting schedule for both accounts so I can make sure I stay consistent. And yes, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Today's topic, what are we talking about today? Therapy part 2. Why? Because it's been a year that I've been in therapy. I had a short break of therapy due to trying to get some order in my finances. But it was also a very well needed and I feel also orchestrated break that God had placed into my life because I had an issue with needing validation. So it helped me to build that muscle to build a relationship with God, and talk to just find strength in my own decisions. Building that muscle to combat my overthinking. As Jerry Flowers said, I overthink that. I think over that. So it was very well necessary. It was kind of like making sure that I don't get stuck in the routine of therapy, because when I first started therapy, I was in the routine of not journaling as much as I needed to. I kind of felt that I was seeking that same validation in therapy, or kind of just checking off the list of that venting. But mind you, like I said, when you first enter therapy, give yourself some grace. So it's totally fine. But then it got to a point to where I got tired of talking about the same subject all the time. And that's when it started to kick in, like, okay, Ebony, I think you need to try to not just talk about it, but be about it. And so ironically, around that time, something happened with my insurance, and I had to pay off the current, make sure I was current with my payments or whatever, my co-pays. So that took about a month or two, couple months, two months, yeah. So I can't lie, when I had that last appointment, it hurt my feelings. When she was like, okay, we gotta make sure that you get your stuff back in with standing. And I was like, I was kind of like nervous or whatever. But like I said, ironically, around that time, my prayer life started to like really improve. And I started to make sure like I was identifying in my life what needed to change and what I need to do. And it also helped me focus in a lot more because I had submitted my healing process to God at that point. And I got back in therapy, I want to say January. So I want to say from November to January. So yeah, about a month. It was like towards the end of November, because I was talking to her about making dresses for the first time. So yeah, about a month. And then I got back in therapy, and it's been really good. Like, I've been really open. I have embraced vulnerability for the first time in my life. I would say I've been pretty vulnerable on my podcast platform. But at the same time, I feel like the inner healing I need to do was a lot deeper this time. Having those conversations of like being honest with my parents about certain things and just allowing them to pour into me and heal me, because it's like, how can you? I was really shut off, towards my parents, and it kind of was just like making me realize what I wanted, and that was to have a flourishing relationship with my parents. So it helped me break down in communication with them and just like get it all on the table so they can help me heal, because it takes a village for not just a child's growth, but just for everybody. Community is very important. So I got back in therapy, and then I was having a lot more, I won't say meaningful, but I would say directed conversations or objective conversations with my therapist. like knowing exactly what I want to talk about and not just talking about the same thing, like actually seeing myself making progress in each um therapy session. Not saying that I wasn't before, but I just saw that I was following through on things by actively working and having those tough conversations, because the only conversation that's a bad conversation is the one that you have not had. Then from there, I want to say something happened in the middle of that when I first got back in therapy, and then what I noticed was I guess head on told my parents about it. And then after that, I went head on and told my therapist about it, and I was active and proactive in my healing and not being scared and things like that. And I'm like, wow, Ebony, look at all this progress that you're making from embracing living authentically, not hiding behind whatever, and not being scared from whatever, like, facing life head on. And I feel very empowered by living in this way now. It's just such a beautiful process, because I think sometimes we add stress to our life thinking that we have to have things all figured out. And sometimes you kind of, yes, you should be able to set boundaries, which I've also been able to do with my parents. But at the same time, like, don't rob yourself from the opportunity of getting what you needed, because when you come of age, you now have the verbiage, if you allow yourself to, to to ask them and coach them on how to treat you so you can heal, because sometimes, like I said, for every relationship you're in, you have to teach people how to treat you. So showing them and not getting defensive because they didn't say something the correct way. Like right now, I'm able to see, like I said, think over that. So I'm able to see how and why they have a certain response and not take things personally. The old version of me will like shut down. I'm not dealing with you. Da, 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 you don't get me. But now I'm able to have more grace, and I actually like pray for them when I feel like they're not understanding me, because I'm able to see why they don't understand me, and then I can coach them in to help them understand me. Once like I said, you seek to understand then be understood. So my communication skills have gotten really I am very proud of my communication skills, I must say. Like, the roadblock between then and now was because the missing piece was my authenticity, because I wasn't accepting myself because of past decisions. So now that finally having that missing piece just makes me feel so much lighter. Not being ashamed to have a conversation with my dad about my finances. Like, it happens. It's life. I'm still here. God is still putting breath in my body every single morning. Thankfully, he still has me in a season to where I have everything that I need. You know what I'm saying? The basics. I'm thankful and grateful. I'm able to do things for them. For my parents, their anniversary just passed of 26 years. And I was able to make a very thoughtful gift. There was a point in time, and I paid. It seems small to maybe some, but for me, for Christmas, I had to afterpay that stuff for Christmas. Here come their birthdays and stuff like that, and I'm paying cash for it. Like, it's just certain things like that that like make me feel so amazing, and to be able to, because I think one part that we rob our parents of is noticing that they're human too. I think sometimes we get so caught up in what we want as a child, and children can tend to be very selfish. Let's just be honest, because it's all about, when you're a parent, you're serving your child, you're giving to your child. So when you get of age and you're able to actually look back on things and stop seeing what they did and what they did not do, and just see them as a person, as a human being, it's one of the greatest gifts I could ever imagine, because I'm able to pour into them so they can pour back into me the right way. Because let's just be honest, even as a perfect, and I'm gonna use that word lightly, as a person, as a parent who does everything quote unquote by the books, you're still missing the mark on something. A parent who's giving their child everything financially is still missing the mark somewhere emotionally. So I think just being able to see the humanity in my parents helps heal me. It helps me see me better. It helps me give myself self-forgiveness because I've embodied this grace and make sure that I maintain this pure heart that I have, and just seeing how when I'm able to pour into them, what that does for them gives me a sense of fulfillment, because it's like, Ebony, if you were in the space that you were in before, you wouldn't be able to do this and really receive what you're doing for them. You would have just been checking off a box, like how you could say parents can check off a box for providing for their children. I grew up blessed, There was nothing I had to actually want for. I had all the basic necessities that a person could ask for. You didn't have to worry about food or clothing and things of that nature. Maybe not have got everything on my Christmas list, on my birthday list, whatever, but I grew up having a blessed life. So it's like, they did their job. They did an amazing job with me. And then, like I said, at a point in time for every single one of us, you have to get to a point in life. It's like, okay, I'm now responsible for what I did not receive, and to get those things and work on those things within my own self-discovery. Because you gotta remember, they're just here to just guide you to a certain point, and after that, you have to let them go. Just like how a bird, I'm here to protect and provide for you, nurture you, and things of that nature. And you got to go out and feed and figure out your next route for your life. You got to figure out your next location. You got to figure out and go do the same thing. So when you have that new perspective, you just feel like, I feel really good. Therapy. So I've been in therapy. Got into therapy in November of 2022. No. Yes. No. 2021. 22. I'm sorry. Was it 22? I can't remember, but I know it's been a year. It's been a year. What month was it? No. I got into it because I was, So I got into it. It was either between November and the spring. So it's been a year regardless. Yeah. It's been a year. Yeah, for sure. It's been a year because I had just started therapy back in yeah. It's yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's been a year. I ain't lying to y'all. It's been a year. What was I saying? What was it? Oh, so because I've been so intentional with a therapy now and objective and knowing exactly what I need to talk about and how to get through it and making sure that I'm doing the backup work behind it, which is why I didn't hop right into recording in the beginning of the year, because I needed to not do what I did when I first started my podcast and make sure I wasn't giving information too soon that I would regret. I'm not saying that information was bad, but it just was premature. So I took a break and I guess made sure I was intentional on getting what's for me first. Pouring my cup and letting the saucer be with what you guys get. Because I think you also need to be wise about your healing with stuff like that, especially when you're telling your testimony and things of that nature, when you're still working through it. Get it for you first, because sometimes when you share things prematurely, not saying it still won't help and set someone free, but sometimes that inner me, which is your enemy sometimes, can make you feel some type of way about what you did out of the right place, but just in the wrong time. So that's why I made sure I took my time to make sure I was healing through my breakup and everything that had occurred and the things that happened afterwards, and just thought processing and things of that nature. And healing through having the tough conversations that I was having with my parents and things that I was triggering within that stuff. Because I was having to finally face things head on. That's a decision that I made that God gave me the strength to do. So, yes. She has released me to extend our therapy session. So instead of having them every 2 weeks, it'll be 3 weeks, because she said I made such good progress and she's really like proud of what I've done and gets to keep going. I have the tools. I have my feelings wheel. I have, what is it? A couple books that she has. A couple of books that she has. I got them on my Amazon. Let me pull them up for you guys. I'm doing my devotional. And my devotional is, let me pull it up. Hold on. It's 100 Days of Believing Bigger. So I haven't actually been journaling that much. I threw my old journal away. Just because I just didn't want it anymore. I feel like I kind of was past it. I love that episode that Megan Brooks, she said, just turn the page on the No For Sure pod. I love that concept, which is totally true. But for me, I didn't want it no more. I didn't want to be reminded of it because I'm a type of person. I know me. I would read things and then put myself in a funk. So no you, okay? No you. By Marshawn Evans Daniels. It's 100 Days of Believing Bigger devotional journal. I love it. I am almost done with it. I don't know how many pages I've done, but I'm close to the end. And then the books that she has recommended for me to read. Faith Evans' book. I have that in my Amazon cart. Where's my list at? Hold on. Also a book by Sarah Jakes, Don't Settle for Safe, Embracing the Uncomfortable to Become Unstoppable. Breath Prayers for African Americans by Edna G. Jordan. This book I saw was from Darius Daniels, Too Busy Not to Pray by Bill Hybels. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. And then, of course, Faith Jenkins, Don't Settle for Safe. And I think that was all the books that I had from her. So I have those things prepared for me to do next. I am not trying to overload myself with things I should be doing. I think you have to be realistic. Like I got a new journal, and it's a pretty lengthy journal. Like it's a lot of lines in it. So I've probably did about 6 journal entries, but ironically, like you have to broaden your expectation of what you need to do when you're healing. Like in the beginning of the year, when I was fresh out of the breakup, I was doing video journals. Some of those things I broke down into TikTok, some things I kept for myself, right? Understanding and discerning what things you should share. So that was one thing that I did. So I wasn't writing things down. I didn't feel like writing. I wanted to just instantly get it out once I was feeling a little emotional. I did that because that combated my oversharing with friends. So therefore I can have healthy relationship with my friends. When I really needed a friend, I will telephone a friend. But when I didn't and I just wanted to talk and wanted to just get some validation, I did my video journal. What else did I do? What else have I done? Reading the Bible, or making sure that I actually I YouTube a certain topic that I want to get some research on to hear other people and how they're getting through their things of that nature. One of the people who I really like listen to is what is her name? Melody Alyssa on YouTube. She's one of the people I actually like to listen to as well. So be open, because there's not only one way to skin a cat. Ain't that the same? I think so. Some things just may not work for you. Some things might seem a little more taxing. So that's why I kind of like to open up into doing the video journals. I found that. I think I actually may have saw somebody do that on TikTok. Of what they did. So yeah, because you don't want to do the emotional dumping thing. I had to make sure I wasn't doing that anymore. Hey Neil, sorry. I want to make sure I have healthy relationship with my friends, and that I am not doing something now that I can regret later on. Because remember, what you're doing right now, you'll be doing later on. It just keeps going. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I had an issue with when I was dating. I would have an issue and go talk to my friends about it. You know, whether we were not talking at that time or not, I would go talk to my friends or one of my coworkers that I'm really cool with. And it's just like, Ebony, I don't want to bring that back up again. I want to keep that dead. So that's what I do. I wait until my therapy session. And like I said, as I'm doing that, I'm looking up topics through podcasts and stuff of that nature, so that way I can get some additional feedback to hold me over until my next therapy session. So that's kind of what I do, because you're paying someone for it, and it just makes sense. Use therapy and maximize what therapy is supposed to be used for. Excuse me. So I'm feeling really confident. I would tell anybody and everybody to get into therapy. I said this before on the last therapy episode. All I did was I called my insurance and I said, what companies do they have out there for me? I think I actually Googled it. I think I Googled what therapy companies took my insurance and just called it. And then luckily, like I said, I didn't have to. I scheduled for one therapist, but she was booked. And then I found the current therapist that I have, and I've been with her ever since. So, sometimes you don't be scared if you have a therapist and you don't really vibe with he or she. Make sure you're finding somebody who you identify with. Like I said, a long time ago when I was younger, I had a therapist and I didn't identify with her at all. So you want someone that you can feel comfortable and not feel judged. I would not recommend you, if you're a woman, to find a male therapist, personally. I think it's very important to find someone that you identify with. Like I said, if you're a male, I would think that you should probably go with a male therapist, personally. Yeah. Because at the same time, I'm so glad I'm in therapy now because it's like I want to make sure that I can have the best relationships I possibly can, because like I said, so there's some things that you don't need to be sharing with your parents. There's some things you don't need to be sharing with your spouse, or some things that you don't need to be sharing. I'm going to say not your spouse, with your boyfriend and your girlfriend. There's some things you don't need to be sharing with your friends. Some things you should only be sharing with your coworkers. There's a place and a space for everything, and make sure that you know how to identify what spaces are for certain things. There are certain things, like when I get in a relationship, one thing I want to do as well would be relational coaching, because it's still something, like that's one thing I need to make sure that my partner is also in this therapy as well. Because like I said, ooh child, I'm gonna tell you like this, look, because I don't know how many times I will be in my therapy when I was in a relationship and she'll tell me, Ebony, one of the biggest problems that I had was my communication. I shut down. So it would be times I remember sitting in bed and in my head, because I'm an overthinker too. You know your brain and accept it. Period. I'll be sitting in bed and it would make me so mad. It's like you can feel it ready to come out. I know I need to have the more mature conversation, but because I was scared, or like I don't know, I just feel like I needed to go to somebody else. So I had to build that mental muscle in my head to feel confident within myself. That's why I value if you need to take a break and say, hey, identify. Like I said, if you feel like you're getting in the routine of something and you're not doing what you should be doing in therapy, you might need to take a break. Really soak in and build that muscle up first. Cause I'm just sharing with you guys what I did. Cause I was stuck. I was just stuck talking to my therapist about it, and I wasn't going any further. Be open with your therapist, please. Cause I told her, like, I don't know why I didn't do it. I don't know. I didn't have the conversation. Yeah. Be open with them. That's like your new best friend, okay? Period. That's your new best friend who has the tools, the education, knows how to guide you in the correct way, And like, don't feel afraid for switching a therapist however many times. It may take you to therapists, but don't get discouraged with it. Don't get discouraged. I don't think I have nothing else to share about there because I'm in such a good place right now. Oh, girl, I be talking to her like this, like, I've learned how to do this. I learned how to tell my brain, listen, brain, that's not truth. This is how I was talking to her. I tell my brain, that's not truth. That's not what happened. That's your ego. You're getting verbiage. It feels really good to be able to identify and give verbiage to what that action is. I don't need protection. I got this. I feel confident now. It's all about building your confidence. Here's another thing. Don't quit therapy. Tell your therapist, like, because like I literally about to tell her on my last therapy session, which was Monday, I think I'm kind of good. And it felt so good to get that confirmation from her. Like, she told me, hey, I think we're good. You can stretch it out. And don't get too prideful and too, up in your ego thinking, oh, I'm good. I don't need this no more. Like, no. I hope you continue to have good weeks and months, but something can recur because life happens. No matter how good you are as a Christian, how good you are as a person, things will happen and you will need it. But know that you have to reference what you've already been through with therapy. You may have to meet every month, and that's okay. That is A-okay. Because I'm pretty sure there's something that you're doing that could use a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of understanding. So yeah, I'm excited for this life journey of therapy. However it looks from now on, I'm hoping for the best for myself. I'm actively working on myself each and every day. Without it, I wouldn't have certain tools. So yes, I would 1000% recommend therapy. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Get yourself into therapy, okay? Keep trying and keep trying and keep trying and try again until you find the one that works for you, okay? And drop down in the comments how long you've been in therapy, what your progress has been so far, what your thoughts about it have been so far. For those who may not know the right place to look for therapy, that could be affordable, because as we know right now, it can be sometimes trying time for some people. So sometimes finances can be a reason to why you're not in therapy right now. If you guys have any things that could help others, drop it down in the comments where you see this. And yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.